Welcome to my presentation. The topic of my presentation are the pros and cons to life in Italy versus life in the United States of America. The intent of my presentation is not to convince you that life or the quality of living is better in Italy or in the United States of America. I wish to show you some facts and circumstances that will help you make your own decision. What you learn from my presentation may help you plan a trip to Italy someday. There are many points of difference between the two countries and cultures. I have lived 21 years in Naples, Italy. Bear in mind that's not all of Italy I speak about. I speak about southern Italy, Naples. So I'm going to divide my points into two groups of good and groups of bad. And I'll expand on each point. And during my presentation, anybody can give me questions. You're welcome to stop me at any point. Bad points are traffic, garbage, crime, and cost of living. The road structure, and you can see here, is antique. It's made from a time when they had carts and horses. You can see where that would cause problem for traffic. Like here, for example, stone blocks, very narrow roads, no sidewalks, no shoulder on the road. In the United States of America, the roads are very square and lined up. You can go up to the next block, come back around the block, and end up where you started. In Italy, this does not work. Roads go off in oblique directions, do not reconnect. It's very easy to get misdirected or lost. In Italy, the second thing is there is simply very little available real estate for landfill. It's a small country with a dense population. Therefore, the garbage can be a problem. Garbage accumulates with no place to dispose of it. Add to that occasional garbage strikes, so there's no pickup. Here you see an example of garbage in the street. Now it's not always like this. This is during the strike, but it can get bad, especially in the summer months. In the United States of America, we have good garbage service. Something we take for granted. I can't even imagine how it would be if there was a strike and nobody came to get my garbage for 2 weeks. Also, the next problem is crime. And because the economy is sluggish, jobs are few, more so lately with the economic downturn in Europe, people are turning to crime so they can eat. Car theft, pickpocketing, home break-in are high primarily in the South, in the cities. Violent crimes are more common in the United States of America, but overall petty crimes are higher in Italy. Here's a list of some of the things, like you see, American visitors are not singled out because they're American, but they are tourists, and tourists get pickpocketed and get something. You're welcome to read this as I continue on. Another downside, bad side, is the cost of living. Here are some examples. In fact, let me show you the next PowerPoint. Price per gallon of gasoline is $8.87 for a gallon. We talk about a meal at a medium range restaurant. Could be from 50 to 100 euros. It could be from 100 euros to $130. It could be anywhere from $70 to $130 per person to eat at a restaurant. It's expensive. Rent's expensive. They talk about a 2-bedroom house for $1,700 a month. Water costs double what it costs here in Rochester. Electricity costs triple per kilowatt hour what it costs here in Rochester. It's not easy. Now, good points are weather, the history, people, and homemade wines and foods. In Rochester, we have wonderful winter sports, such as skiing, sledding, snowmobiling, etc. In Italy, in the south where I lived, I think it's better because it never snows. The coldest you might see is morning frost. In the coldest day of winter, morning frost, never worse. It's common to go all summer and see no rain, only sun. As a matter of fact, let's see the next. This is a picture of a chilly winter day in Italy. Long sleeve shirt, kind of cloudy and maybe breezy, but no snow. The next good point is the Italians live in the midst of history, much older than the 300 years of history we have here in the United States of America. If I walk down my street in Italy, I see the antique square Roman bricks as a foundation of my sister-in-law's house. Her house is actually built on top of antique Roman structure. Everywhere you go, you will see and taste history. You can hear it in the local dialect. You can see it in the customs and the habits of the local people. You can, in the local foods, recipes, wines, you can literally taste history. We have history in the United States of America as well, and wonderful history, but it doesn't go so far back. And here you see, my home is right here, although you can't see it. There's a crater right here and some ruins around the backside. I live in the middle of history. Another good point is people. People are warm, friendly, very open and talkative. Even more so because I speak fluent Italian. Of course, I have a heavy American accent. They find it interesting to talk to me because I make good conversation, I make jokes, I speak some local dialect. I understand most of the local dialect that I hear spoken, and if who I'm speaking to is speaking proper Italian, I understand it all. Another good point, homemade wines and foods. Wines that cannot be purchased in a store. Local food dishes, fresh fruits, vegetables. Fresh means picked that day, maybe that week. For example, here's a fresh fish market. Fresh seafood means it was brought from the sea that day. If it was from the day prior, you can get it at a great discount. In fact, the fish market opens up at 5 a.m. and closes at 1:30 p.m. just after lunch. We would go at closing time and get fresh seafood at a good discount. And the quality is better. I know you can go to Boston or to the coast and get fresh seafood, but here in Rochester it is difficult to get fish that was harvested that same day. As I stated earlier, seafood in the restaurant can be expensive, but not so much so if you go to the market. In my presentation, I have shown only a few examples of conditions in South Italy. Anywhere in the world that you may go, you will always find pros and cons. I have spoken more about Italy because you, my audience, are very familiar with how things are here in America, in Rochester. So, I have shown you more examples of Italian lifestyle so you can compare with what you know about the U.S. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Are there any questions?
Why did you go to Italy in the first place?
My first was actually I was active duty military and they sent me there. Any other questions?
Yeah, why did you bring your family back to America?
That's a long story. There were several reasons. I wanted my daughters to have American education also. I know that there's better job opportunities here for them. I wanted to come back home, in a manner of speaking. I knew that I could earn more money here in the States, retire better, many reasons. I'm happy I'm back. Well, that ends my presentation. I hope that I have shown you some things that will help you if you ever decide to go to Italy.